Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this latest narration of the web series The Burning Ones. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 24, Speak No Evil. As I walked back to my room, I felt like the floor was going to give out beneath my feet, or maybe my knees. All the lights were too bright, the hum of the electrical systems and the engine too loud. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what to think. My head was spinning and my stomach threatened to expel everything they held. Mark's voice echoed in my mind. "What do you mean, Shadow? Told you." A chill raced up my spine. 4 words from Mark had ruined me. "Chief, they don't speak." I explained to Mark that I'd been speaking with Shadow for weeks. Zevi and Antonio both backed up Mark's statement. The Guardians do not speak. Mark might believe that I'm insane now. Zevi seemed far more interested in the so-called anomaly than the possibility that I was lying or mad. He said what I was thinking at the time. How did she know about the video? Perhaps the Shadow did speak to her. Unfortunately for me, Zevi was less supportive when I explained that it was unlikely that they could witness me speak to Shadow, as he and I only conversed while Allison was asleep. The moment I spoke the words aloud, I knew I'd made a mistake. Not only did I undermine myself in their eyes, but I also sabotaged my confidence in myself. What if I am losing it? What if my mind is turning into one giant, empty eggshell, and I'm just too far gone to know? Maybe it was my battle brain syndrome. Maybe all the terrible things I've seen, what I have done. Maybe I finally cracked. I didn't realize that I was nowhere near my room until I walked into Fultian's lab. I hadn't planned on coming here. All I wanted was to wash the smell of smoke out of my feathers, put on clean clothes, and go to sleep. "I need help," I shouted. "Who is doing the piloting here? Maybe my subconscious is smarter than I am." "Ah!" Bolton fell from a bar mounted in the ceiling, where he was hanging wrong way up, asleep. "Sorry," I moaned, and helped the 4-armed scientist up from the floor. "It's okay." Boltian rubbed his back with 2 hands and straightened his clothes with the others. "A solid scare is good for the metabolism. Could use to lose a few kilos anyway." "I'm really sorry, Doc," I said, as I collapsed into one of the chairs. "What can I help you with?" Boltian opened a valve in one large gas canister, extended the mouthpiece bit down, and took a long draught of whatever substance he kept in there. "I need a full psychometric scan." I ran my fingers through my cranial plumage and knocked some ash free. "I need to know if I'm losing my mind." "What makes you think your thinker is done thinking?" Voltian shuffled around the lab on his 3 legs, snatching up sensors and equipment as he walked. "Mark just told me the Burning Ones don't speak. He said no human has ever made verbal contact. They communicate in very loose emotional impressions. They occasionally point or use their powers to highlight something." Voltian attached the sensors to my skull. "But you've seen otherwise. I've been conversing with Allison's guardian for weeks. We talk while she's asleep." "Interesting," Voltian said, and activated his machine. "I find this quite curious, Gaia." "Why is that?" I asked. Voltian's machines began spitting out chaotic waves, form patterns, like I had never seen before. "Oh my, Voltian," I said, both scared and angry. "What is this strange—" "Well, some of the others may be able to confirm, and you should ask the humans as well, but—" He scrutinized the data and then scratched his head with one hand and his chest with the other. "But what?" "But, these burning ones, as you've called them, they don't have mouths, just those huge, terrifying, blazing eyes." "That's not possible." My mind was racing now. Voltian's meter was going crazy. Maybe I was going crazy. "I advise you verify, but I've seen 0 mouths in the 5 Guardians aboard this vessel," Voltian explained. "I picked up visual waves only when I first tried to study Shadow before the machines caught fire. No sound, no chemical traces, only light and energy." "Voltian," I said. My voice was shaky. His machine blinked and flickered and then turned off. "I've spent hours talking to Shadow. If he doesn't have a mouth, I'm having visual and auditory hallucinations." "Oh, I would be more than that." Voltian removed the leads from my head. "You would be classified as delusional, possibly even disassociated from reality." "Thank you," I scoffed. "I feel so much better. I'm also having horrendous nightmares. I think I am totally losing it." "Well," Voltian read the charts with his machine had generated, "your brain activity is abnormal. I don't know what it means, though. Shadow told me everything I need to know about how to save Lorenzo. It has to be real." "What happened to Lorenzo?" Boltian asked, compassionate concern in his voice. They were trying to remove him from the ship. He had another episode. I showed up in the middle, and when the cleric showed him a video of his old guardian, it came back and killed the monster that was driving Lorenzo. That is, so confusing, Boltian said, but his voice was joyful. However, I couldn't be happier the kid got rid of that monster. I've been having nightmares about that thing eating my lungs. It was awful, and it was wonderful. What does that machine say about my head? I asked. I don't know. Gonna have to reference some charts in your species, go back to your room, get some sleep. I'll find you as soon as I know something. I was trying to do that, but I ended up here instead. I pulled myself out of the chair and headed for the door. We might need to analyze my legs next. Go to sleep, Kaya, Boltian said, compassionately. Doctor's orders. I walked the ship's corridors. I missed 3 turns. I hadn't been this bad at navigating a ship since my first weeks of training, 25 years ago. I finally made it back to my room. I don't know how long it took me. I opened the door and walked in. Allison was sitting on my bed. She was holding the Seraphim Assassin's blade, the blade I dreamt of over and over again. I saw Shadow sitting stoically beside the human. His hand was wrapped around hers, and the light of the body pulsed along with her heartbeat. My vestigial bones throbbed. The pain was incapacitating. I couldn't think. My stomach revolted. I dove for the waistband, dropped to my knees, and vomited. I looked at Allison out of the corner of my eye and wiped my face clean. She hadn't moved a muscle since I entered. She wasn't even looking at me. Her eyes were locked on the blade. Your footlocker was beeping, and I was trying to sleep. Allison was very upset. Her voice was shaking. I found this knife. Found some surveillance photos. You want to explain what the hell is going on? End of chapter.
I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Sevaren Serberous, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Casper Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon W.R.E, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.